package we have brought to the table the last 2 years, and it fell apart because of fights among the Republican leadership in Georgia, when the Speaker of the House, the Lieutenant Governor, and the Governor. Because what we put on the table was part of the package. We have reintroduced that this session again. It has three parts to it. One, a regional T-SPLOST. To get Atlanta out of gridlock, we're going to have an offer communities the opportunity to put special purpose sales tax to fix certain specific areas in transportation. But the second part, which is the biggest part that we have insisted on from the Democratic caucus and have staked out and made it a caucus position, is we've got to dedicate the fourth penny of sales tax generated from motor fuel. Right now, you have 3 cents of the sales tax generated from motor fuel that is dedicated to roads and bridges. The fourth penny, when it was adopted in the late 80s, was supposed to go to local type paving projects. It is now put just in the general fund. If that is dedicated to any transportation purpose, it gives us 2 things. One, a dedicated revenue stream, which for the federal government would allow us to leverage the kind of money to put passenger rail and mass transit in this state. If we did that, then we could leverage the amount of money from this administration, like North Carolina and Florida. We are behind because we're not even offering the local match. North Carolina got $500 million to put the train from Charlotte to Raleigh. Florida got $1 billion too. In Georgia, we have $87 million committed to the Lovejoy line. It actually goes to Griffin, but we got to put up $20 million. If we did that, let's just do the math. That's a $107 million jobs program that starts passenger rail in the state. The third part of the plan is it's got to go on the ballot in 2010. We cannot wait till 2012, as the current government wants to do. If we do that, we have missed this window of opportunity to leverage a tremendous amount of state dollars, and we will lose our place in the Southeast as a leader to other states.
Thank you. Mr. Campbell, what would you do about transportation policy in Georgia?
Well, having served 10.5 years with the United States Air Force and had a great opportunity to serve in transportation logistics while I was in the Air Force, and great opportunity to travel on high-speed trains overseas. I understand the importance of ensuring that Georgians have a way of getting around that's not a part of the gridlock that we're all experiencing in some of our larger metropolitan cities. I think it's very important to ensure that in order to reduce that carbon footprint that everybody's talking about, we can institute high-speed rail in Georgia, or some type of rail, in order to meet the needs of people who are traveling. Wouldn't it be nice to live in Ray City, Georgia, where I'm from, way down in South Georgia, and work in Macon if I wanted to, and come back home? Wouldn't it be nice for those people who live in Macon to work in Atlanta and come back home via high-speed rail? So I think that we've got to think a little bit further into the future as far as the state of Georgia is concerned. People assume a lot of times that Georgia is behind, but we have some of the best and brightest minds in this country and in the world. We've got to put those minds to work in the area of transportation for the future of a better Georgia.
Let me follow up with you on. How would you go about paying for this?
Well, listen, any time that you're on the highway, you're paying for gas, you're paying for insurance, you're paying extra taxes for fixing the roads. So I think that with a collaborative agreement between passengers, between local governments who are benefiting from trains passing through, between the state of Georgia, and between federal funds, I think it's doable, because you spend so much money each year and so much time on our regular highways and on our interstates, and it costs millions and millions of dollars, and we're finding ways to pay for that. Not adequately, but I believe that with a collaborative effort between the passengers, between local governments, between the state and the federal government, we can find a way to pay for this transportation system.
Mr. Boykus, what are your views or your ideas for improving transportation in Georgia?
Thank you. One of the things to bear in mind is this. The struggles in the General Assembly over the last 2 years or 3 years over transportation has not been over transportation. It's not been about paving roads. It's been about control of the budget. It's been about control of the budget that funds the Department of Transportation. and you've seen a squabble between the speaker, the former speaker, the governor, and the lieutenant governor. And it has continued on until this session. It does look to me as though we will get, or they will get some kind of legislation this year for a local option sales tax to fund transportation, an extra penny. They're talking about just an incredibly complex 12 regional tax bases, which I think is going to be really, really tough to manage. But at this point, as citizens of Georgia, I think we ought to take anything we can get. If I were governor and that bill came to me, I would probably sign it, just because we have got to get this state moving transportation-wise. From a leadership standpoint, I'll tell you, we do not have a transportation strategic plan in this state. There's a large document that you can find downtown, and on the cover it says Strategic Transportation Plan. It's not a plan. It's a list of discrete projects, which are plucked off largely through the political process and funded as individual projects. That's not a plan that's going to take us to 2050. That's not a plan that's going to keep us competitive in the Southeast and keep us globally, keep us competitive globally. As governor, I will create a strategic plan, and it will indeed involve rail, not just rail from Atlanta to Athens or Atlanta to Lovejoy. This is not thinking big. Thinking big is Chattanooga to Jacksonville, Augusta to Albany, or Augusta to Mobile, because we do need passenger rail so that people can move from one population center to another to work and play, and not continue to try to rely on single passenger automobiles as the principal mode of transportation. One final point, metropolitan Atlanta has finally reached the point that every big city eventually reaches. It has reached a point of saturation population-wise where we can no longer continue to pave roads as a sensible response to congestion. It is no longer sensible to rely on single passenger automobiles as the principal mode of transportation. MARTA is there. It is a solid existing infrastructure. We should use that as a base to begin building truly a strategic statewide transportation rate passenger rail system. One final point, and I'll close. All right, let's get cut. All right.
Let me go follow up this quick, briefly. How would you pay for it? Would you be more in favor of a statewide tax? You seem to be critical of that, the 12.
I think that the debate in the General Assembly, and it's a bona fide debate, but the debate has always been, is it politically possible to succeed with a statewide referendum for a 1 cent transportation tax? Do you do it statewide and run the risk of losing that referendum? Or do you break it up into these 12 planning regions and try to pass it locally